Well, hello again. Having a nice day? Because I'm actually having myself a pretty fine day. And, yet again, we are, of course, in Minecraft, which kind of seems to be the thing I'm doing anymore. This is going to be a rather quick video, nothing special, and it kind of ties into the previous video, or the latest video I uploaded, about my attempted model at the Snowpiercer Train, which, in that case, here's my first attempted model. And this is the one that I replicated in the video, my previous video anyways, and had like a whole length of freight cars and all that, not freight cars, passenger cars, and all that stuff. And then somebody mentioned to me that it would be a good idea to try to make a bigger and better model so that way I can fit more detail in it. And over the course of about 2 days, I got Snowpiercer Volume 2 done. And I actually did spend about 2 days getting this one about as far as it is, and I was really taking, a very, very close look at the pictures and the concept art that they released, after the film was published. And I tried to make it large enough to where I could get the interior just right, which I'll show you here in a minute. But I also tried to make it large enough to where I could fit some more finer details with the use of, like, small blocks and, colors that, I don't know, shit, I don't know how to do it, but I was going to say, like, I could pull up the concept image I was using, but I can't exactly remember how to do that. But, yeah, like, it kind of shows the train in pristine condition, before it was covered in ice and snow. So it was kind of like what the train would look like before the world froze. And, of course, it was predominantly white, and there was actually supposed to be kind of like a gray stripe that goes along the entire side of the locomotive. But something else I did notice is that they had like these red little fender wells, where the driving wheels are located. So I kind of tried to tuck those under, under the skirts that kind of go along the side of the drive wheels. And like one of the interesting things about the locomotive is that it has 2 sets of drive wheels. You have 4 up front and then 4 in the rear, like practically right at the very rear. Whoop. Noises. Hear a lot of pistons going on. So yeah, I mean, as far as like the organic shaping of the locomotive goes, it is a hell of a lot more, better, more fluid looking than my first attempted model. And this one is sitting on a railroad that's 5 blocks wide, and normally railroads are supposed to be 3. I kind of talked about that in the little previous video. Now, in order to get this bigger version to fit on a railroad, of course, I had to make the railroad like, let's see, that'd be 5, 6, 7 blocks wide. So it might be somewhat overscaled, but, in perspective to me, like, your little avatars in third person standing next to the train, it actually surprising, like, in the concept image I was looking at, like, they had, like, a little character of the scale of a human being standing next to the locomotive, and surprisingly, like, with your third person avatar, your player model compared to the size of this locomotive, it's actually just barely the same scale as what they showed in the concept art. So, I mean, in the form of like realistic, it's probably to scale. In the form of like Minecraft scale, it might be slightly oversized, but it's blocks, slabs, and stairs, so it's not like you can get it, perfect. And I didn't build like an excessive amount of like passenger cars, because all I was really focusing on was just trying to get the locomotive, like the engine, as fluid and as closely resemblant to the model as I possibly could. I do have the interior done, and let's see here. I rewatched the movie to try to get a better memory as to what the floor plan or what the interior components of the locomotive were. And I remember in the movie, and this is where stuff's going to get loud because I have a lot of pistons and stuff in there, but before I get just within the sound range, there's like the little part in the back half of the engine where, of course, it has a lot of like gears and machinery and stuff like that, and a little fenced off walkway that goes over it, and then of course you have like the little platform that they're sitting on before they walk into the main engine room where they come across to Wilford. So I'm going to take a quick little fly through here and just kind of take a close look. It might just be barely quiet enough for me to say, like, they're sitting here and they have the door over there, and then that Korean guy's talking about blowing it open and then climbing out, and then this big gate opens, and then the girl shoots him, and then, you know, Chris Evans' character gets escorted in. And this is kind of like the room where Curtis, yeah, his character's name is Curtis, but, you know, the actor is Chris Evans, and then you have Wilford in here making like a steak, you know, somewhere right here, and then there would be a table right here, and then that one weird fat lady'd be sitting like in a chair back here. Of course, even though the outside of the locomotive is significantly bigger, considering that the wheels I also made larger, so the floor had to been tucked up higher into the shell, I still haven't quite gotten the inside of it, you know, exactly perfect, but you rarely ever can. So normally, if I were to change this, the wood floor would be sitting down another layer below here, and then of course you'd have this like stone, you know, arc that sits higher up than the wooden floor. Then there's like the tiny little staircase, but I still, you know, worked with what I could and got, you know, at least made it look better than my previous model. And of course you can like walk up here. Ugh, I got a burp, but it won't come up. Give me a second. Nah, it's gonna go away. So yeah, I mean, of course, and then Curtis and Wilford walk up here, and this is like the eternal engine, or, you know, as what the film lore is, that it's a supposed perpetual motion engine. Like, there's a lot of like weird tubes that are like, you know, rotating around this this compartment, and then you have like the weird little mechanism sitting in the middle here with like a little light in the center. So that pretty much just kind of wraps up and everything I have to show about my Volume 2, or yeah, Version 2 of the Snowpiercer Train. So I always build some of my higher detailed models, like it's kind of like my, okay, I'm actually gonna fly out of here. Loud noises, okay. I always build some of my prototype models on like separate maps where I like build random stuff. Like, of course, you can see a lot of trucks, a couple of tanks, and even these like things that look like gigantic engines. You have like a V6, V8, and an inline 4-cylinder, and then a miniature model of an engine tucked away in a truck. But that's something else. So I'll try at like some point to move this locomotive design over to like an actual snowy map, where I might just regenerate the seed where I built the first train and then just rebuild it in the same location, and then build all the freight cars. I keep calling them freight cars, they're passenger cars, I'm such an idiot. So yeah, just build all the cars and then put down the track and then detail the interior, maybe come back to it at a later date. So that pretty much wraps up this little quick video. This might be the quickest one I ever made, and yeah, this is Snowpiercer Volume 2. So yeah, hope you enjoyed, and you take care, have a nice day, and I'm gonna go get me a pizza.